this part 2 video of the equations of straight lines, we will take a look at the meaning of the slope-intercept form and the intercept form of the equations of straight lines. To understand what they are, first of all, we must understand the meaning of intercepts. Usually for a straight line, it will cut the x-axis and y-axis at 2 points. Suppose the y value here is b and the x value here is a. And then we call this number b to be the y-intercept. And this number a is called the x-intercept. Let's take a look at this case. Suppose this one is a straight line and the distance here is equal to 2. The distance here is equal to 3. If we want to find out the y-intercept and the x-intercept of this straight line, we need to look at the values on the y-axis and the x-axis here. And here the value on the y-axis should be minus 2. And the value on the x-axis here should be equal to 3. And therefore our conclusion is that in this case, the x-intercept should be equal to 3. And the y-intercept is equal to minus 2. But not 2, it should be minus 2 because the value here is minus 2. Now let's take a look at another case. Here we have an equation of this straight line. If we would like to find out the x-intercept and the y-intercept of this straight line, we need to consider the coordinates at these 2 points. The coordinates at this point should be something like 0, okay, and then an unknown. And this unknown is the y-intercept that we want to find out. And then the coordinates at this point should be an unknown, and then the y-coordinate should be 0. And the unknown here is the x-intercept that we want to find out. Let's say now we want to find out the value of the x-intercept. This x value is just the solution of this equation when y is equal to 0. That means we can consider something like this. When y is equal to 0, then we should know that 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. That means x is equal to minus 1.5. And now we should know that the x-intercept is equal to minus 1.5. And then for the y-intercept, this value of y-intercept is just a solution of y in this equation when x is equal to 0. That means now we can consider the case when x is equal to 0. And that means 0 minus y plus 3 is equal to 0. And now we should know that y is equal to 3. And that means we can conclude that the y-intercept should be equal to 3. Now we can take a look at the meaning of the slope-intercept form. Sometimes for a straight line, if the slope and the y-intercept are given, we can find out the equation of this straight line quickly by considering the slope-intercept form. Let's see how it works. If the y-intercept is b, that means the coordinate at this point should be 0b. And if this is 0b, that means we can consider the point slope form to find out the equation of this straight line. And that means the equation of this straight line can be written as y minus b over x minus 0 equals m. This is the point slope form. And then that means y minus b is equal to mx. Therefore, y can be expressed as mx plus b. This form of equation, y equals mx plus b, is known as the slope-intercept form. M is the slope of this straight line and b is the y-intercept of this straight line. Now we know that for any straight lines with slope m and y-intercept b, we can quickly write down its equation as y equals mx plus b. And then for this example, if we want to find the equation of this straight line, it will be extremely easy if we consider the slope-intercept form. The equation of this straight line is simply y equals m is minus half, and then x plus the y-intercept minus 3 here. And usually we want to express an equation in a general form. That means it is 2y equals minus x minus 6, and that means the general form is x plus 2y plus 6 equals 0. After the slope-intercept form, we can now take a look at the meaning of the intercept form. Sometimes when we know the x-intercept and the y-intercept of a straight line, we can quickly write down the equation of this straight line by considering the intercept form. Let's see how it works. If we consider the 2-point form here, that means the equation of this straight line can be written as y minus 0 over x minus a, which is equal to b minus 0 over 0 minus a, and this one is equal to minus b over a, which means that minus a times y is equal to bx minus ab. And if we rewrite this in the general form, it is bx plus ay minus ab equals 0. Now we can do a trick like this. We can put AB on the right hand side. And after that we can divide both sides by AB, which means the left hand side will then become x over a. And then that is y over b. And the right hand side will simply be 1. This result is known as the intercept form of straight lines. That means when we know the values of a and b, which are the x-intercept and the y-intercept respectively, of this straight line, then we can quickly write down the equation of this straight line in this form. Let's take a look at this example. Here we already know the x-intercept and the y-intercept of this straight line. The x-intercept is 4 and the y-intercept is minus 2. If we would like to find out the equation of this straight line, we can quickly write down. According to the intercept form, the equation of this straight line is x over the x-intercept, which is 4, plus y over the y-intercept, which is minus 2, equals 1. Okay, please pay attention. It is equal to 1, but not equal to 0. 1 here. Okay, and now we want to express this in the general form. We may multiply both sides by 4, which means it becomes x minus 2y equals 4. X minus 2y minus 4 equals 0. And this is the equation of this straight line in the general form. Finally, let's take a look at this question. Suppose we are given the equation of a straight line 3x plus 2y minus 6 equals 0. And we would like to find out the slope, the y-intercept, and the x-intercept of this straight line. To find the slope of this straight line, we can make use of the slope-intercept form. That means we can first rewrite this equation in the slope-intercept form, which means we make y the subject in this formula. That means this equation can be rewritten as 2y equals minus 3x plus 6. And then we divide both sides by 2. Y equals minus 3 over 2 times x plus 3. Now this equation is in the slope-intercept form. And then by comparing the like terms, we should know that m is equal to minus 3 over 2. That means the slope should be equal to minus 3 over 2. And then for the y-intercept, it is b. That means 3 is the y-intercept. Now we still need to find out the x-intercept. But do we need to consider the intercept form? The answer is no, because there is a simpler way to do this. As mentioned previously, we can just consider the value of x in this equation when the value of y is equal to 0. That means we can consider when y is equal to 0, this equation becomes 3x minus 6 equals 0. And then we should know that x is then equal to 2. And the 2 here means that the x-intercept should be equal to 2. Therefore, from a given equation of a straight line, we can find out the slope, the y-intercept, and the x-intercept.